Today we're going to review how to pull data from multiple sheets. So for this example, let's say I have 5 retail locations, and what I want to do is to be able to view the data as the managers update their sales on a monthly basis. So the first step to do this is we need to create a folder. So here I created a sample sales folder, and inside this folder we will need to create a data sheet for each location, and these are the sheets that the managers are going to be updating. And then in the same folder will be our master sheet, which is our dashboard, where we will pull that data from all of these sheets into here and then manipulate it as needed. So this is one of our data sheets. So as mentioned, we have the month of sales. We have it for 4 years, and each month the manager will update it as they get their sales for each month. Now, to make it easier, what I do is I always name the tab on each spreadsheet the same. So you can see I named this one sales for location 1, same thing for location 2, and 3, and etc., all the way to 5. Now, on our main dashboard spreadsheet, I've created a data tab, and this is where we're going to transfer and share our data from each individual sheet. What I like to do is transfer the data from cell to cell, from one sheet over to the main sheet, and then manipulate that data after it's been transferred. So let's start off and pull the data over for location 1 for January 2020. The first thing you're going to do is click on the tab and enter in equals. Now we're going to transfer over to location 1, and we're going to select the January tab. So in here you can see it references the name of the sheet, the tab, and then the cell location. Now I can hit enter. When I hit enter, it brings me back over to my dashboard Excel spreadsheet, and you can see the information has pulled back over to the spreadsheet. So 68,484, we go over here, 68,484. Now a little tip is, whenever I'm working on multiple sheets like this, I always like to leave all the Excel spreadsheets opened. It's just a lot easier when you're building the formulas, and I'll show you why. So here you can see that the location is here, the tab is here like I explained, and the cell reference. Now if I go in and I close location 1 spreadsheet, now you can see it's referencing the file location on the entire computer. And again, depending on where you're saving this on your computer, this can get really long. So if I go back in and I open up location 1, go back to my dashboard page, and you can see it's back to the short form. Another tip when you're pulling data from one sheet to another is try to keep the layout the same. So you can see here I got the months January to December all vertically in column A. If we go to location 1, you can see it's the same thing. Doesn't matter which column it's in, just as long as it's vertical. It's just going to allow us to pull the data and be able to drag and drop the formulas down without having to do it each time. This is really important when you're working with large data sheets. So if I try to drag and drop this now, you'll see it's the identical number. The reason for this, we go back into our formula, the cell reference is protected. So what we need to do is get rid of the dollar signs. We now can drag and drop all the way down to December, and you can see it has pulled our data. To double check this, we can go to February, 72593, location 1, 72593. The other thing I want to show you is in June, there's no sales. But if I go over to location 1 and I enter in $5 of sales, and we go back over now to the main spreadsheet, you can see that's automatically updated. So if we go back, delete it, go back to the main spreadsheet, you can see it's automatically updated. Now, to bring the data over to each individual sheet, we won't be able to drag and drop it over. Because as you can see here, our cell reference has changed. So what we want to do, click on the cell, highlight formula, Control C, go to location 2, and Control V. Now you can see it's identical match. What we need to do now is reference the worksheet for location 2. Again, because this formula is simple, we can just easily go in here and change that to a 2. Now we can go to location 2 and just double check our data. 75,459, 75,459. Now, there's another way that you can do this. Let's say you have multiple formulas in here at reference and you don't want to spend the time changing everything over to 222, or if the name of the sheet was a lot more difficult than what I've created here. It can become very cumbersome, especially when you're working with a large spreadsheet. So what you can do, let's just say I'm going to highlight this, copy it. So just for this reference, I'm going to just put in a larger formula here and say I want to add the 2 cells together. So what I can do is hit Control F, the find and replace will come up, go to replace, and I want to find location 1, and I want to replace it with location 2. Highlight the cell and hit replace. Now you can see both of them got updated. They got changed from location 1 to location 2 in the entire formula. But since we only need 1, I have to delete that, and I will change that to 3. Control C, Tab, Control V, change that to 4. And we'll change that to 5. Now all I need to do is highlight the data and drag it down to the bottom. So you can see here, there's actually data in for June, location 4. And I did this purposely just to ensure that the data transferred over properly. It's a quick reference for me, so now I can go over to location 4. And you can see June had the exact same number there. I can remove it, come back here, and you can see that has automatically been updated. Now I'm going to repeat and do the same thing for 2019. Okay, now I'm just going to save my spreadsheet. And now I have all my data pulled over that I need to develop my dashboard. Let's go back to the dashboard. Okay, so what I want to do is create a drop-down list in the cell for the months. And when I select a month, I would like the data to automatically populate for the month for each location. So let's first build the drop-down list. So we come over here to the side, type in Jan, we'll pull it down, so all the months are there. I'm going to go click on the cell here, go into the top bar and go to Data, over to the side and select Data Validation. Change this to a list. My source will be the cell range here. And hit OK. Now you can see I can select each month and it will automatically update. Okay, so let's create an Hlookup formula to pull our data from the data sheet. Okay, the lookup value is going to be location 1. And then my table array, I want to pull that from the data sheet for 2019. So highlight the locations and go all the way down to the bottom. The cell I want to reference is going to be number 2 for now. And I want it to be an exact match. And as you can see, it pulled up this number here, 76,311. So let's just double check that. 76,311. Now, when I go to change the month, you can see that nothing happens here. So what I need to do is create a reference telling my formula that this number needs to change as I change the month. So how we're going to do that is I'm going to enter 2, 3, and these numbers are coming from the column reference number here for each cell. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we're going to do the same thing, drop it all the way down. And you can see it ends off with 13. Now what I'm going to do is create another formula here. This time it's going to be a VLOOKUP. And the cell I want to reference is the month here, January. The range is going to be this entire chart here. And I'm going to tell it to look up over here in the second column. And important, I want to make sure that it's an exact match. We'll close it off and hit enter. And now you can see this number 2 is for January. And if I change it, let's say to April, it goes to 5, which matches with April. So now what I need to do in this formula is I need to say, I want you to reference this cell. Importantly, I want to lock it because I don't want this reference cell to change whenever I drag and drop my formula. The other thing I need to lock up is the range. This should never change as well. So I'm going to put some dollar signs here to make sure that that's locked. So the only thing that should change when I move it should be the location, where I'm referencing the location number. So now I can drag and drop this down. You can see the numbers changed, and now we can check and make sure that this worked. So location 2 for January should be 84083. Location 2, 84083. Now I need to do the same thing for 2020. I'm going to go here and type in my Hlookup formula. Same lookup value. This time my table array will change because I'm going to be pulling up the 2020. We need to go back to the dashboard now. So we need to use this cell to reference which column we want to look up. And again, we want it to be an exact match. Close it off. And now before I hit enter, I'm just going to make sure that I lock these reference cells and the range. Hit enter, and now I can drag and drop and bring this down, and we can double check. So again, for location 2 for January, it should be 75459. 75459. Excellent. And as you see here, when I change it, it automatically updates the formula. And I know I don't have any data in September for 2020, so you can see that has automatically been changed. One thing I want to update on my cell here though is the way that this has been formatted. It's going to change it to general so the year is proper. There we go. The last thing I need to do to complete my spreadsheet is create a formula here and say this minus this will give me my difference. So now we can go into January, and then I can drag and drop this all the way down, and there you go. My chart is complete. One thing I'd like to do is hide these cells because no one needs to see it. And there you go, my dashboard is complete. Now I can go ahead and close all of my location sheets. And they're all closed now. And as you can see, my data is still there. Now, going back to the folder, it's really important if you do email these sheets out and share them with other parties, when you do get the updated version and you save it in this folder, it's extremely important that you do name it the same. And it's going to let you know, an alert will come up saying you sure you want to save it. Hit yes. If you do change the name, the data isn't going to pull over to your master dashboard sheet because these are the names referenced in your data sheet on your dashboard. Please support the channel by giving us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, turn on alerts for more videos like this.